Today I was going to read Job because when I read it, I always found it as a very inspiring story. I'm going to start in chapter 1, reading down through verse 3. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, one that feared God and eschewed evil. For there was born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance was also 1,000 sheep and 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, 500 she-asses, and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men in the east. He was obviously a very rich man, but he didn't let that go to his head and rule over what he did with his life. His sons and his daughters did not follow in his footsteps because they went to their houses, and they drank and feasted, and it says that they cursed God. And Job went out after their partying and went and prayed for them and sacrificed. And you have to wonder, how much did he really love his children? Because to do that for them every time they go and make a mistake, it takes a lot of love not to get upset at them. And verse 5, and so when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sacrificed them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, "It may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts." Thus did Job continually. In verse 6, now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. Satan came also among them, and the Lord said unto Satan, "Where comest thou?" Then Satan answered and said, "From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down it." And the Lord said unto Satan, "Hath you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil?" Satan answered the Lord and said, "Does Job fear the God for naught? Hast thou not made a hedge about him and his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thy hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face." And the Lord said unto Satan, "Behold, all that he hath is in thy power, and only upon himself put not forth thy hand." So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. So God just gave everything that Job had to Satan to do with whatever he wanted. And so we go down to verse 13. There was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. There came a messenger unto Job and said, "The oxen were plowing and the asses feeding beside them, and the Sabaeans fell upon them and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and only I am escaped alone to tell thee." While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, "The fire of God is fallen from heaven, and hath burnt up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them. For only I am escaped alone to tell them." While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, "The Chaldeans made out 3 bands and fell upon the camels, and have carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and only I am escaped alone to tell thee." While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, "Thy sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. Only I am escaped alone to tell thee." So, one day, he is the richest man in the East. Day, week later, whatever it's been, he has now lost absolutely everything. be an upright standing man and knowing that God has protected us and helped me multiply, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, for no reason, you lose absolutely everything. Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshipped. How many of us would worship if something like that happened? Raise your hands. I don't think very many of us would be very happy. I don't know if we'd be in the mood to go worshiping and praising God. I know I wouldn't want to. And in all this, Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. I think about it, I know myself especially, I can be really grumbly if I have one bad day. And here he has lost all his riches, all his animals, and especially his sons and daughters. He's having a horrible day.
Talking about bad hair day. Oh.
And yet, in everything, he did not sin and get mad, upset at everybody else, or God for what had happened to him. Chapter 2, verse 3. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job? And there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil. And still he holdeth fast in his integrity, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without cause. And Satan answered the Lord and said, Skin for skin, yea, all that a man hath will he give for his life. But put forth thine hand now, and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord, and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot to the top of his crown. How many people have had chicken pox? Good for you. I've never had them. I've never had them, but I can imagine what kind of misery you must have been in. You can't sit, you can't walk, because you hurt. It says he went and sat in the ashes with a piece of pottery to fix it. That's a really miserable life. And then on top of it, then said his wife in verse 9, Then said his wife unto him, Dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God and die. Get on with your life. Forget it. How would you feel if your wife, or when your husband come up and said that to you and everything else that's going on? I mean, how good would you feel? Verse 10, But he said unto her, Thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What shall we receive? Good at the hand of God, and shall we not receive evil? In all this did Job not sin with his lips. He still remained perfect and upright to God. He did not let himself be brought down low enough not to curse him, or to give up the love that he had. I think it's very inspiring. When we have a bad day, don't let it get the better of you. If you still have your friends and your family, I'd say you're pretty good. A couple of years ago, our family had a hospital. We lost absolutely everything. But I think go on reading through the chapter. He has 3 friends that come and talk to him. And I'm not going to read all that because it just goes on forever. But they sat there and questioned him to his face. And why do you do this? Why do you continue? Well, my mom and dad's taken God, but that was good. In chapter 42, verse 7, and so it was that after the Lord had raised. Chapter 42, verse 4. Here I beseech thee, and I will speak. I will demand of thee, and declareth thou unto me. I have heard thee by the hearing of the ear, but now mine eye seeth thee. Wherefore I abhor myself, and repent in dust and ashes. And so it was after that the Lord had spoken. That after the Lord had spoken these words unto Job, the Lord said unto Eliphaz, the Temanite, my wrath is kindled against thee and against thy 2 friends, for ye have not spoken of me the thing that is right, as my servant Job hath. Therefore take unto you now 7 bullocks and 7 rams, and go forth and go to my servant Job, and offer up for yourselves the burnt offering, and my servant Job shall pray for you. For him will I accept, lest I deal with you after your folly, in which ye have not spoken of me the thing which is right, like my servant Job. So they went and did according to what the Lord said. And the Lord turned the captivity of Job. And when he prayed for his friends, the Lord also gave Job twice as much as he had had before. Then came unto him all his brethren and all his sisters, and all they that had been of his acquaintance before, and did eat bread with him in his house. And they bemoaned him and comforted him over all the evil that the Lord had brought upon him, and every man also gave him a piece of money, and every one an earring of gold. I don't know how many he had in his family, but I'm going to guess it was a lot. So the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning, for he had 14,000 sheep and 6,000 camels, 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 she-asses. He also had 7 sons and 3 daughters, and he called the name of the first Jeremiah, and the name of the second Kiza, and the name of the third Karen Hapucha. And in all the land there were no women so fair as the daughters of Job. And their father gave them inheritance among the brethren. So he rose from being very rich, losing absolutely everything. And to the end of it all, being an upright and honest and stable man and not getting mad at God, he then had twice as much animals and wealth, but the Lord also gave him back his sons and his daughters, which he lost. Yes?
Think of Job's wife. After she said, why do you go through this? Why don't you just curse God and die? Well, when Job went through the whole thing, and then Job got blessed with twice as many sons and daughters. So, who had to bear them all? So,
Very good point.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
Maybe got James twice as many wives.
Well, for me, I think it's a very inspiring story. Don't let your bad days go over you, because they can do much worse. That's all I have. Thank you. Are there any